All right. Again, we certainly do appreciate Total Resource Management. TRM appreciates the opportunity. This is one of a four-part series in which we are going to take a deep dive into SAP S4HANA's capabilities, really within the heart of the module, which is, the maintenance request. So today, Senthil, my colleague, and I are going to go through maintenance request best practices within S4HANA. My name is Dan Anderson. I have a long history in the maintenance and reliability space. I serve as a business solutions manager for TRM, supporting our clients with not only the best practices associated with maintenance and reliability, but then also harnessing the technology associated with SAP. My background comes from, a technology right out of college, working for DataStream, which is now many people know as Infor. I currently serve on the board of directors for the Society of Maintenance and Reliability Professionals, as well as World Partners in Asset Management.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Senthil. I'm leading the SAP practice here at TRM. I'm an electrical and electronics engineer. I also did my MBA in project management. I have started my career in the manufacturing industry, and I worked in the manufacturing for about 6 years. I was played various roles such as maintenance supervisor, electrical engineer, maintenance manager on those years. I've also done more than 10 SAP certification, and around 10 certifications are active currently. As I mentioned, after I spent 6+ years in the manufacturing, I started my consulting career. I did work for all the global consulting company for more than 20 years now. And myself and Dan is, working and developing our SAP practice at this time.
Thank you, Senthil. Yeah, and as Senthil had noted, Total Resource Management, we both are working to grow the practice here within the SAP realm. What makes us different than other folks that are out there? Well, we really focus on maintenance and reliability best practices. We do this through assessments, training and coaching, process improvement, and then also a very specific focus on data quality. A lot of people know us through our IBM Maximo practice. As Senthil had mentioned, we're driving the SAP practice at TRM. So we have a technology practice that's dedicated to market-leading EAM and APM solutions. And as we go through the presentation, we'll dive in a little bit more detail of that. We like to think of ourselves as digital and operational excellence for asset management. So, gone are the days of, really focusing in on your processes without now addressing the technology side of things. Things are just evolving so quickly in 2024 that, you really need to look at both to lower costs, improve reliability, and just really fill in those gaps with production improvements. So as we go into this webinar, we're going to talk about some of the common mistakes and some of the common benefits when it comes to maintenance requests. I think a lot of us have seen that have worked out there in the manufacturing space. Requesters are always going to select the highest priority when it comes to their requests. So if they don't feel comfortable with the process that's in place when they submit a work order request or a maintenance request, that they're always going to put number one priority on that. Some things that you might see as well too in your daily environment are living avenues to screen notifications throughout the process. Sometimes you might be limited to one approval or two approvers, and not be able to have a phased approval approach as you go through, not only limiting it to the supervisor and the planner, but opening it up to other areas as well too. Not choosing the right object code for a notification. This is of extreme importance when you're wanting to identify what's going on and what particular equipment, asset, and it just builds into the specific details, which leads me to the next point, having incomplete or inaccurate information filled out on the requests. So this is very important. Once that work request turns into a work order and you're getting it scheduled, the more details that you can put on it versus broke machine, squealing belt. If you can put more details, it just helps by the time it gets to a technician for them to troubleshoot and go out and take care of that problem. One of the nicest things about these newer capabilities that you're going to see are requesters are able to track updates and the status of their requests. With a lot of these historical systems, you don't have the opportunity to look and see, well, I requested this work to be done last week. Where is it in the approval process? And how is it getting taken care of? So keeping in mind that a well-structured work order process contributes to smoother operation and better outcomes. By avoiding these common mistakes, you can enhance efficiency and minimize disruptions in your organization. Some of the things that we've seen as best practices for maintenance requests is that the goals and expectations are aligned with the roles and responsibilities of the staff. So as the work comes in, it's getting assigned to appropriate individuals and appropriate positions within the organization. You're not seeing a maintenance request that's focused for a pipe feeder getting directed to a maintenance technician. And along the way, there's checks and balances that can do that. It exhibits a clear understanding of in-house capabilities of what can be outsourced. So this works both ways for your highly skilled jobs to possibly look at outsourcing those at a more optimal cost, or maybe some of your things that can be done in-house, they're not being outsourced. So taking a look and being able to balance the workload between what gets outsourced and what gets taken care of by the internal staff. One of the best things for continuous improvement are after action reviews. So work completed to identify areas of improvement, almost like a root cause analysis, and really understanding, like I'd mentioned earlier, when you have a good, true work order process and you're planning and scheduling work, the more proactive things can be addressed as you're going through and then looking at different ways to improve operations. Measure time for actual resolution and the actual costs of repairs. So many folks out there are measuring things like overall equipment effectiveness, mean time between failure, mean time to repair. These are all metrics that you've probably heard out there. And without a good work order request or maintenance request system in place, you have a very hard time tracking these. And Senthil is going to dive a little bit further into how these are taken care of within SAP and the maintenance request module. Provide accurate prioritization for the most critical jobs. We've heard of the story of the plant manager's light bulb getting replaced over addressing a problem with a critical asset out in production. So to streamline these prioritization, and Senthil is going to take a little deeper dive into this as well too for the S4HANA capabilities, which are really neat. And being able to understand the different variables that go into the prioritization. Removing frustrations with lack of details on the work order. So again, for a job that might be super critical but isn't getting addressed quickly, it's probably because of lack of details on it. I'm going to know if there's a fire burning on one of the hoses that it should be addressed quickly on one of my critical assets. And then, of course, saving time and money through increased efficiency and production. This is just a common trait that, as you're going through the work order process and just thinking about the system you have now, if you're thinking about moving to S4HANA, how can I optimize that? And through that transition, how am I doing that? Senthil is going to dive into some areas that the screens, because we want to show you the most robust capabilities associated with the software platform, but keep in mind that a lot of these can be hidden. You can make fields read only. There's a lot of things that can simplify the screens as we're going through this webinar today.
Oh, thanks, Dan. So with that, let's talk a little bit more about this demo and what we are going to cover in this demo. and what are the key areas that we are going to touch, right? First, we are going to see the Fiori application and the highlights of the Fiori application and why Fiori applications are very much needed to run S4HANA. And then the life cycle of a maintenance request. Maintenance request starts from the initiation and go through the screening process, approval process, then finally completion. So we will not touch the completion process as part of this demo, but we will see in the upcoming demos only the completion part. And then we will see what are the key information required or needed to fill when someone is creating the maintenance request so that the reviewer or the approver can get the full details of the maintenance request and decide whether he or she is going to approve or reject it. And finally, as I mentioned, what are the key information the approver expect in the notification? Based on that information, he or she will either reject or approve it. So first, let's talk about the Fiori applications and its importances. Fiori applications is around for around 10 years, but it is getting a lot of traction, after S4HANA. So the primary thing, about the S4HANA Fiori application is definitely the improved user experience. So if you are a ECC user, you will have to remember your transaction code, or you need to add the transaction code in the favorites to run the business transaction. But that is not required anymore if you are started using the Fiori applications. So everything is app based. You will just choose that app and you can do your transaction based on that. And secondly, role-based access. There are hundreds of your application available in SAP, right? But the user is not going to see all the hundreds of applications. So the user will see only based on the assigned role. Let's say the user is a technician. He will not see any planning related application. He will see only the work completion or execution part that is relevant for the technician role. And then responsive design. This is definitely faster than the old transaction codes. And the apps are the app responses are really great. And you will experience once you started using the Fiori applications. And then real-time analytics, you don't have to go and run any report. Some of the analytical Fiori application, you can see the analytics on the tile itself. Let's say you see the list of notification Fiori application. On the main screen itself, you can see how many notifications are created, how many notifications are open, and how many notifications are closed. So all those information you can see on the main screen itself. And it is streamlined processes because this is built on top of SAP S4HANA. So this streamline all the processes such as your HR, finance, sales, and maintenance, of course. And then it is very well aligned or integrate with the SAP S4HANA because this is on top of S4HANA suite. So it seamlessly integrate with other SAP models and functionalities. And finally, customization and extensibility. So Fiori apps can be customized and extended to meet the specific business requirements. Organization can tailor, the apps based on the unique workflows of that organization's business and processes. So with that, let me jump into the SAP Fiori and show you how a user can create a notification by following the best practices so that, this will be helpful for the requester and also it will be useful for the reviewer and approver. So let me share my screen. And I hope you are able to see my screen. So this is the Fiori application main screen, where you will see the application relevant for your role. As I mentioned earlier, if you are, let's say, a common employee and you are allowed to create a work request or notification, you will see only the relevant application. You will not see all these tabs. I'm seeing all these tabs because, my role, have lots of access. That's the reason why you see, many tiles. Right, so to start, we will have to go to the app called My Maintenance Request. If you choose that maintenance request, you will see multiple buckets in the screen. You see the draft and submitted, action required, accepted. So you'll be seeing multiple buckets. So always, as per the best practice, you go to the draft bucket and create a work request or maintenance request from here by clicking the button create, right? You will see all the existing work requests that you have started, but you have not submitted, right? So those work requests are draft work requests. You will see all the draft in this section, right? So you will decide whether you are going to add additional detail on top of the draft notification or work request and submit it, or you can also create a brand new work request. So in our case, let's create a brand new maintenance request or work request by clicking this button. And here also it is, Fiori will ask you whether you want to continue your draft or you want to create a brand new one, right? So I'll just discard. Then it took me to the brand new work request or maintenance request creation screen. So as you all aware, you will have to put some key information on the notification, right? So primarily, we need to put the affected assets or equipment and the location of the asset and what is the effect of this particular breakdown or malfunction, right? So first, let's choose the equipment or functional location, which is affected by clicking this button. So when you click that button, you will see all the list of equipment and functional location. So in our case, let's say the pump 4 is malfunctioning or it's not working as expected, right? So in that case, go to that pump 4, click that. That pump 4 is copied to this particular field, which is nothing but technical object in our case, right? And you can also input the current location manually, but always the location is available from the equipment master. So in our case, let's leave this particular field and then go and choose the failure mode group for this maintenance request. So let me choose a standard SAP failure mode group by selecting this line. And then you need to add the failure mode. So there are a list of failure mode connected to this failure mode group. When you click this button, you will see all the available failure modes. Let's say in our case, the pump is overheating, right? So let's choose overheating. And then how this issue is detected. So that is called detection method, right? By clicking this button, you will see all the possible detection method. But let's say in our case, we have identified this issue when someone is doing continuous condition monitoring, right? In that case, there are also other options, but let's choose this for this demo purpose, right? So continuous condition monitoring, I have selected. And then what is the effect of this malfunction? We know the pump is overheated. It is not delivering the output that we want. So then the effect of this malfunction either can be completely no effect or production restricted or production breakdown. So let's say in our case, production restricted. So what is the meaning of production restricted? The pump still can run by the manufacturing or production guys, but it cannot deliver the expected output. Probably, may slow. That's the reason why we choose the option production restricted. And then there is a button called breakdown indicator here. If the pump is totally, broke down, you can check this box breakdown. And this breakdown indicator will send all this information to your breakdown report, right? So for this demo, I'm not going to check that box because we mentioned the effect is production restricted. So which means not a breakdown, right? It is malfunction, but still, you can use that pump. And malfunction start date and time, always system copy the date and time, but still you can change the date and time if you want. But in our demo purpose, I just leave the system date and time. And then system also automatically captured who is creating this notification or maintenance request and who is reported by. So all these are captured automatically based on my login, right? Because I log into SAP and I'm creating this notification, and all my detail or informations are copied to this particular field, right? And then finally, on the notification creation screen, you can upload a picture of the malfunction, right? You can take the pump photo, and if there is anything wrong with that photo, if the pump is corroded or there is something wrong, you can take the picture and you can upload by clicking this button, right? If you take the picture, saved in your computer or phone, and you can upload by clicking this button. I'm not going to upload anything for this demo, but there are options, right? You can upload, and also you can add link. Let's say there is a manufacturer user manual is available on the internet. You can just put that website there by clicking the add link button. So in our case, yeah, based on the information that we fill, these are the key information we have already filled, and finally click the submit button. Right. So there is an error. So let me see, enter description. Yes. So we have to enter the description that is mandatory. So which is there under the general data. So here we need to enter the description. So here the pump is overheating, right? So pump is or pump malfunction. So I have added the pump malfunction. In addition to the description, you can also create your own template. And here you can input the problem description and when did this issue started. All this can be added here as part of this template. And finally, before we submit, we can also, or we should input the priority, right? So the priority can be either input directly from this drop down, or you can also access the priority by clicking this button. So I'm not going to go through all the priority assessment, but let me quickly cover what is there. So basically, SAP put the priority assessment under this fourth section, right? One is safety risk, financial risk, environmental, and personal welfare. So here, by clicking this button, you will see all the possible options, and you can choose whichever is appropriate in this case. So let's say, financial risk, whether there is any damage or not, whether this is going to happen immediately or after a year from now. So all these are possible answers, and you can choose, based on the actual malfunction, equipment malfunction that you are experiencing with. So as I mentioned, you can either choose the priority directly, or you can also access the priority by going through this. Based on my answers that I provided in the previous screen, the priority is calculated as low. Right, so these are the key information that you need to fill, and finally, click submit. So now the pump malfunction work request is submitted. So as a user, you can track the life cycle of your maintenance request, right? Whether it is someone is reviewing it or not, and once they reviewed, whether your request is accepted or rejected, or they need any more information from you, all this information can be tracked in this My Maintenance Request app. Right. So assume that you have submitted your maintenance request. Someone is, going to review and decide whether to accept or reject your notification or work request, maintenance request. To do that, click on SAP, that button that will take you to this particular screen where you can see all the apps. So the next app is screen maintenance request. So assume that you submitted a maintenance request and your supervisor or electrical supervisor or maintenance supervisor is reviewing the notification. To do that, they'll click on this app, screen maintenance request, and this maintenance request will be immediately available as an open maintenance request on their main screen, right? So if they want to see more detail about your maintenance request, they click this button and they'll go and see all the detail provided by you as a requester, right? So let's say they're happy with the information provided. This is a valid maintenance request. They'll just simply accept it, right? So once they accept your maintenance request, then your planner will take this to the next level and create the work order, planning and scheduling all those activities. As I mentioned earlier, we are not going to cover the work order part in this session, but we will cover in our upcoming session. Right. So now, as I mentioned, if they want to approve or accept, they'll just click on this button. If they want to reject, or if they want to ask more information from the requester, they'll click action required. And here they will have to choose one of this, right? Whether they need more information, or if they feel that this request is not unique, right? So based on those decisions, they'll choose one of these. And if they want to reject, they cannot simply reject it. Even if they want to reject it, they will have to choose the reason why they're rejecting it, right? So for our demo case, let's say we are, or whoever is reviewing is going to accept it. So to do that, they'll just simply click the accept button. So when they click the accept button, the notification is accepted. And you are a requester always, as I mentioned, you can track the status of your maintenance request. You see your submitter notification or maintenance request is disappeared from your submitted bucket. But if you go to accepted, you will see your notification that you have submitted, right? So this way you can track the complete life cycle of your maintenance request from submitted, whether it is action required or not, whether it is accepted by your the maintenance department, right? Right. So these are the areas that we wanted to cover as part of this work request or maintenance request best practices. So with that, let me go to our presentations once more. Right. So to wrap up, what are the benefits that you will be getting if you are following and using the maintenance request best practices? So definitely this will improve the maintenance request tracking, both sides, right? As a requester, the requester can track what is the status of his maintenance request. Similarly, the screener, whoever is screening and approving the maintenance request, they also can track your maintenance. Let's say they approve the maintenance request. Whether that maintenance request is currently planned by the planner or scheduler, whether the work is completely closed. So all those activities can be tracked by this notification screener as well. So overall, this is definitely improve the work request tracking all around. I mean, you can track the end-to-end process. And then improve reporting capabilities because you capture each and every status on the notification, right? As we have seen just now, like your screening, approval, completion, you can run many reports based on the statuses and who is doing the work and the work is assigned to whom and who is the notification reviewer. All this information can be seen through the reportings. And the well-defined screening and approval workflow, and based on the role and authorization, you can clearly define the workflow when you submit a notification, who is responsible for review of the notification. If your work request is related to electrical maintenance, right? You don't want your mechanical guy or mechanical department to review that maintenance request. So if you create a work request for the electrical equipment or electrical related issue, that will go to your electrical department to review and approve it. with all those first three bullet point, definitely this will improve the overall equipment reliability because you can track the work request process and whether any preventive maintenance is coming. You have your equipment is already experiencing the breakdown or malfunction. And to wrap up again, the S4HANA webinars that Dan mentioned earlier. So we are planning to cover 4 parts as part of this S4HANA asset management webinar. So we have completed the first one, which is the work request best practices. And you will expect 3 more webinars from us. The next one is going to be the maintenance order creation. We will cover the end-to-end order lifecycle in that, and what are the key information is needed for creating the maintenance order. And then we will also see the maintenance order planning and scheduling in the following webinar. And finally, the maintenance order completion and reporting. With that, so let me hand over this to Dan to add few words before we close this webinar.
Yeah, thank you so much, Senthil. So many robust features with the SAP S4HANA. It's really an eye opener for us who have struggled through the old ways of doing work order requests. Keeping in mind that Senthil is showing off a lot of things that can be configured to your organization, and that's why TRM can come in and support you with either mapping requirements, getting things configured just right as you're moving in, and then also working with your master data. So we appreciate the opportunity and hope to see you on future webinar events. Should you need anything from us in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, my name's Dan Anderson, and Senthil Kathirvel, and our contact information is listed up here. And we certainly look forward to seeing you here in the future. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Okay, Cynthia, you can stop the recording.